So let's talk about the ideas paragraph by paragraph here. Number one.
The falls is kind of being described as something beautiful, terrible.
So you want to isolate your paragraph idea.
Niagara Falls is powerful.
The real secret in beauty is the terror. Beauty equals terror, basically. It's a feeling of unintelligible disaster, right? That power. If you took that out, the heart would be gone. What is that?
There would be no central stabilizer.
No, it's not about stability. What does the heart represent, metaphorically?
Feelings.
Your feeling, right? Your love, right? Your spirit, the spirit, the heart, the feeling, the love would be gone, right? So the beauty is the terror, and if you took that out, you'd be taking away the feeling, the essence that makes the falls what it is. Paragraph 2.
How and why are the Niagara Falls so awe-inspiring?
I want more specific progression of ideas. This is a big paragraph. There's a progression of ideas within the paragraph. The American Falls do not inspire this feeling the same way as the Canadian. So right away, we now know they're two falls. They're not the same, right? The American Falls do not inspire fear equals beauty, which was our first paragraph. So now we're learning there are two parts to the falls. Didn't even know that. So obviously American's pretty calm, the American side, but the Canadian side is the one that's rough and crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they keep describing it as you come to your walk dwindles and dies and awakens you again as you reach the Canadian tumult. So it is a terrifying journey. So how are we progressing? American Falls, beauty. Canadian Falls, terrifying journey, right?
Yeah.
Spray, clouds, blah, okay? So that's all I need. All this detail of how it's crazy and all, I kind of skip over that because I can come back and look at it. I'm just kind of 50,000 foot overview. What's the structure and progression? So falls, terror equals beauty. Otherwise, you'd be tearing out the feeling and essence of it. But there are two parts. The American's nice and pretty. Canadian's horrible. Okay. What's paragraph 3 doing? What's this about?
The river of the falls is basically the result of the craziness.
No, where does it say it's the result of the craziness? Show me where this says it's the result of the craziness, the river. Stick to the text. First sentence. So where do I want the idea of this paragraph? First sentence. Literally, what does it say without making some interpretation of what causes what and try to add into something not in the text here, other than maybe a direct conclusion from the text. Beyond the foot of the river falls is the river. It slides quietly and slowly. So now what do we know? American Falls, calm. Canadian Falls, crazy. At the bottom of the falls in general is a river. For a mile or two, it's calm.
Then it becomes it becomes quicker and pretty eerie, ominous. Yeah, then it becomes more scary and troublesome.
Below the river in general becomes a rapids. And the rapids are even as terrifying as we talked about the falls, the Canadian Falls, which is the terrifying part. The rapids are even more so. It's a place of fear. And he's kind of starting to allude to inhuman life and strength and all this, which is kind of these now broader concepts, which can get a little more confusing, possibly, as we get into paragraph 4. What's going on in paragraph 4?
Okay, well, the falls kind of becomes contemplated.
Yeah, there's something.
Yeah, it's kind of personified, I'd say, as
now we get in all comparisons that rise in the heart. This seems to be more important. The river with its multitude likens itself to a life. We've got a comparison here, right? With an individual, a community, a nation flows through. So what's going on from here? So it draws you back to contemplating thought. He talks about a friend's thoughts and the Victorian lies close, and every man, blah, blah, blah. Now he's making a comparison of the river to life, right? It's important because I think the rest of the passage will be this comparison of life. So what does he say?
It's made up of many flashing moments and yet one stream, like many different components that flow together in a
Yeah.
stream
Yeah,
or a river.
that's okay. Yep.
Very complex.
But is the idea about
And
complexity? What's the core idea here?
they they all continue to their inevitable
That's it. They have a
ruin.
comforting servitude, hurried onward to their ending as inevitably as the dark flood. So a river, it just flows downhill, right? You can't stop it. So that's the comparison
Yeah.
he's making to life, right? So now what does he say about that? Now he offers his own opinion on that comparison. Some go down to it unreluctant, meet it like the river, not without nobility. What does that mean? So we have a double negative, not without nobility. What does that mean?
With nobility.
With nobility. The river goes down with nobility. It doesn't cry about the twists and turns or wherever it goes, it just goes, right? It is what it is. Some go down to it unreluctant, like the river. So make a comparison to some. So what do you imagine these people do?
They
They're,
accept it and have.
they accept it. They're accepting their fate. Some people, he's basically just saying some people accept their fate and ultimate end, just like a river, and obviously then some don't, right? So these are part of his, in the first sentence, the contemplations he's making about the fall. He's comparing the falls to, in the rapids, to life. So a little more meat to unpack in this fourth paragraph, arguably.